top stories, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed inaugurates. Hello and thank you for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Stay with us. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said efforts will be exerted to elevate Ethiopia to the next chapter by building development projects that connect the current and next generation. Speaking here today at the inauguration of the state-of-the-art parking only a stone throws away from Unity Park, Ahmed said the parking is designed to provide multi-purpose services and to be passed on to future generations without losing its historical feature. Our staff reporter, Binyam Alamayo, attended the event and compiles the following report.
The Unity Parking project, built by the Addis Ababa City Administration, took a budget of no less than 1.7 billion and sits on an area of 12,000 square meters of land. The project includes an amphitheater, traditional restaurants, shops, and other attractions, addressing a gathering of PP Central Committee members, senior government officials, and other invited guests. Mayor of Addis Ababa, Adanecha Abebe, pointed out that perseverance to start and finish projects on time has become a hallmark of the current administration. The city administration has allotted a capital budget of 50 billion birr this fiscal year, thus boosting its capacity to embark on such projects as the 1.7 billion birr Unity Parking. Abiy Ahmed, for his part, urged his cabinet members and other regional officials to overcome fear of criticism from the public and stand their ground.
I am going to say this loud and clear. Ethiopians have never tired of forwarding criticism as those who work. If you are indolent, no one cares. But if you work aggressively, you'll be grilled by the public. What matters is that you do what you do for the benefit of the public and stand your ground no matter what.
The building is connected to the Unity Park through an 8-meter-long underground tunnel, which will make the park an international tourist destination. Abiy said projects such as this one are meant to serve the current and future generations as a bridge.
Unity, Adwan.
Projects such as the Entoto Park, Adwa, and the Mescal Square are designed to provide multi-purpose services and to be passed on to future generations without losing its historical future. On the other hand, those like the Avrot Library, the Science Museum, and this one are meant to serve as a bridge between today and a much better tomorrow.
The multifunctional building complex offers a modern, efficient, and secure public station for more than 1,000 vehicles distributed across 4 basements, including disability-accessible slots. This modern parking lot is equipped with various facilities, including elevator for vehicles that easily connect to the underground parking lots and has more than 200 cameras to monitor the cars.
Sitting over 12,000 square meters of land, the parking lot is a huge G4 building. It can accommodate over 1,000 cars at a time. It also serves as a major visiting ring for buildings extending between the Mescal Square and the Avrahot Library. Reporting for ETV, Binyam Alamayo, inside the parking lot of the Unity Park, Addis Ababa.
The 24th East Africa Police Chiefs Cooperation Organization (EAPCO) Annual General Assembly kicked off today in Addis Ababa. The general meeting will deliberate on trans-border crimes, human trafficking, illegal arms trafficking, and drug trafficking, as well as security challenges affecting the region. Tigustar Nisa has the following account.
The Eastern African Police Chiefs Cooperation Organization is a regional police body whose membership consists of chiefs of police of 14 countries. The annual general meeting is being currently attended by 14 Eastern African countries is undertaking under the theme promoting best policing practices in the fight against terrorism and transitional organized crime in Eastern African Police Chief Cooperation Organization (EPACO) region and beyond. Officials from Ethiopian Federal Police, Eastern African Police Chief Organization officials, Interpol representatives of the region and military attaches are taking part in the general meeting. Commander Tsaggaye Hailu stated on his opening remarks that gatherings as such will create a room for member states to share best practices.
Today's programs also as to share our ideas and best practice, where we learn from each other on how best we can run. Then the cities we cannot fight crime alone, and hence we have to jointly work together by sharing criminal information through our secure communication system and supporting our colleagues as we perform our duties within our countries and beyond the borders.
Ethiopia's Federal Police Criminal Investigation Bureau Chief Commissioner General Zelalem Mengiste also reiterated that Ethiopia as a member state and chair of the organization is trying level-based in sustaining law enforcement activity in the region.
In addition, let me ensure and confirm that Ethiopia as a member country and incoming EACO chair will be more active and sustaining and encouraging law enforcement activity in the region, including capacity building, joint operation, and other activity aimed at fighting transnational organized crime.
Head of Interpol Regional Bureau in Kenya, Gideon Kimilu, underlined on his part that Eastern African Police Chief Cooperation Organization aims to guarantee peace and security in the region.
The East African Police Chief Cooperation Organization is a cornerstone for cooperation and the continuation of our 14 East African region member countries. The organization aims to guarantee peace and security for sustainable development in the region, and this will make possible for people to move freely and the goods also to move in the region. Your presence here is crucial because through your discussions, a number of recommendations will be set up, and these recommendations which you will come up with will be taken to the police chiefs, and they will assist the police chiefs in making their resolutions which will fit in the policies of making sure that this region is secure.
The annual general meeting will continue up until December 9, 2022. The organization, whose headquarters is in Nairobi, is comprised of Ethiopia, Eritrea, Kenya, Sudan, South Sudan, DRC, Djibouti, Somalia, Seychelles, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Comoros, and Burundi.
Ethiopian ambassador to the UAE said the diplomatic relations between the United Arab Emirates and Ethiopia have been strengthened since the last 5 years. As Ethiopia opens up the entry of foreign banks, various efforts are underway to partake UAE's investors in Ethiopian banking industry. Johannes Fentahun has the details.
The United Arab Emirates is an important partner to Ethiopia. The relationship between United Arab Emirates and Ethiopia dated back 10 years. The bilateral relationship between the two countries is being reinforced since Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, visited Ethiopia. Ethiopian ambassador to United Arab Emirates Suleiman Dedefo said that the relationship between the two countries has reached at a higher level in the past 5 years.
Ethiopia is exporting a number of agricultural products to the United Arab Emirates, like dairy products, fruits, vegetables, sesame, and many other products are imported into the United Arab Emirates. And there are various products imported into Ethiopia: industrial products, cars, accessories, chemicals, and chemical industry products are imported into Ethiopia.
The engagement of high number of United Arab Emirates investors in Ethiopian investment is one means for the strengthening relationship between the two countries, according to Ambassador Suleiman.
ባለሀብቶች ወደ ኢትዮጵያ ገብተው ኢንቨስት እያደረጉ ናቸው።
Scores of United Arab Emirates investors are investing in Ethiopia. These investments have created employment opportunities for many Ethiopians. They are contributing their share for Ethiopia to earn foreign currency. In addition, they are playing an immense to technology transfer to Ethiopia.
የቴክኖሎጂ ሽግግርን ከማድረግ አንፃር ብዙ አስተዋጽኦ አላቸው።
The ambassador disclosed that more than 250,000 legally documented Ethiopians are working in the United Arab Emirates, adding that efforts are underway to make connections with Ethiopian banks so that they can invest in their country.
ከዱባይ ብቻ ከ3000 በላይ ኢትዮጵያውያን
About 3,000 Ethiopians are investing in their country in cooperation with banks from Dubai alone. According to some data from the banks, close to 10,000 Ethiopians are engaged in investment in their country.
It is to be recalled that the United Arab Emirates opened its embassy in Addis Ababa in July 2010.
Welcome back. Petroleum and Energy Authority announced that activities are underway to make operational fuel stations in conflict-affected areas within a short period of time in accordance with the peace agreement. It is to be recalled that Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed recently told members of the House of People's Representatives that the support work is being carried out under the framework supporting affected people, rebuilding destroyed institutions, and returning the displaced to their villages. Among the reconstruction efforts in the war-torn areas is to enable fuel station resume services. Petroleum and Energy Authority Director General Sarel Abdullahi told ENA that fuel stations are being repaired and resuming services, in addition to ensuring the provision of fuel for humanitarian aid without disruption. She stated that identification of fuel stations that were damaged in the war has been done. Following this, activities have been carried out by preparing a joint plan and establishing a task force drawn from among stakeholders. According to her, activities of providing fuel at gas stations in some favorable conditions have already started. The supply of fuels to stations located in Hara and Kobo areas has started, the Director General said, adding that activities are also underway to provide fuel at gas stations in Alamata next week. In addition, the gas stations in Abala and Afdera in Afar region are being repaired and would soon be operational, Saharallah said. In business news, the number of banks in Ethiopia has significantly increased from time to time. However, their accessibility is not reached to the expected level, as most of them are concentrated and operating in major cities and towns. In consideration of this trend, the National Bank of Ethiopia has time and again been advising the operators to follow suit and provide fair and accessible services to citizens, but it went with no avail. To succeed in the matter, they are all advised to go digital. Daniel Kasahun tells you more.
The first Bank of Ethiopia was called Bank of Abyssinia. It was inaugurated in 1906 by the Emperor Melik. In 1961, Bank of Abyssinia was legally replaced by Bank of Ethiopia shortly after Emperor Haile Selassie came to power. Following the change in the political environment in 1991, the proclamation for the licensing and supervision of insurance business heralded the beginning of a new era. Immediately after the enactment of the proclamation, private companies began to flourish. Currently, there are around 30 banks being operational. Malak Kabada is CEO of Hebrat Bank. He urges all the banks to provide better services to the public as it is expected of them.
በተለይ ቴክኖሎጂ እየተጠቀሙ የበለጠ ሰርቪስ እየሰጡ ስለሆነ
When we look into branch bank services, now we are observing improvements. The mobile banking, internet banking, card payment and other services are being well underway. When we refer international banks, they have gone mostly digital and we are following suit but haven't reached to the expected level.
Ulusegun Nuguse is also Deputy President of the privately owned bank. He indicated all the banks operating in Ethiopia need to foster their activities applying recent technologies to cope up with the platform in the international level.
It is expected of us to enhance our services making use of modern technologies. The world is moving faster and we shouldn't lag behind it. There are some loopholes in the Ethiopian banking industry and all drawbacks have to be addressed in a better manner. Currently, making use of mobile banking is so instrumental to provide convenient banking services.
Currently, the Ethiopian bank's capital has reached to 2.4 trillion birr. Their numbers of branches and customer services have also grown a lot, but more is expected for Ethiopian banks to have competitive banking industry which can compete with international banks.
To continental news, thousands of demonstrators rallied on the streets of Sudan's capital Khartoum on Saturday against UN efforts to solve the crisis sparked by last year's coup. The protest came one day after military leaders and the key civilian bloc announced plans to sign an initial deal. Shagao Yamato has more from Africa News.
Demonstrators rallied on the streets of Sudan's capital Khartoum against UN efforts to solve the crisis sparked by last year's coup. The Saturday protest came one day after military leaders and the key civilian bloc announced plans to sign an initial deal.
The upcoming settlement, in my opinion, is a dual settlement between the small group that does not represent all of the Sudanese people and the military. Sudan has had problems since 1956, and the talks should involve all the people of Sudan. The signing of the agreement with the secular group does not represent the Sudanese people, and we do not accept, as we don't accept secularism. We are a Muslim people, and we want our constitution to be from the book and the teachings of the Prophet.
Political turmoil has gripped Sudan since Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan led an October 2021 military takeover, derailing a fragile transition to civilian rule installed after the 2019 ouster of longtime Islamist autocrat Omar al-Bashir.